Hi, Janelle here with Sheep Hill Herbs. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another video. It's a beautiful sunny day in May, and I'm so happy to have you here today. If everyone could please like, subscribe, hit the bell button, comment, and check out my description down below. In my description, I have my link tree, which is everything that is me, links to everything that is me. That includes my newsletter and my home herbalist course that I'm now offering. It's a 10-month course. And also my books on Amazon. I have 3 books. One of them is an herbal book, All You Need to Know About Making Herbal Tea. I also give that book away as an ebook if you sign up for my newsletter and request it. And I have my Etsy shop and a whole bunch of other things, so check that out. In today's video, I want to show you a little bit more about drying herbs. I've made like 1 or 2 videos on this topic, and I just wanted to do a more information, more in depth than I have in the past. So one thing about drying herbs, one question I get asked is, when do you dry your plants? When is the best time? And so there's a number of schools of thought on this, and one that I think I like the best is anytime that the plant looks really good. You can really basically start cutting and drying. So when you cut plants, you prune them, you cut, so I'm not going to demonstrate that part, the pruning process in this video. So you're either cutting or you're pinching your plant back. So let's say you have some peppermint and it's a foot high. And so maybe you pinch back about 6 inches. Now it's going to split. It's going to grow more. Well, certain plants will split. Certain plants will actually grow more and more branches, like catnip for one does that. Basil does that. And you get more of this like bushy rather than stalk kind of plant when you do that pinching process. And this enables you to keep harvesting your plant and drying. So typically I like to pinch back my plants or cut them back when I start to see flower buds or a little bit before the flower buds. Now I want my plants to flower. I want to see the flowers. I want them to get seeds and to spread and pollinate with what have the bees and the butterflies pollinate. But once the plant, any plant goes into flower, typically the flower then is has the most energy. So I like to cut my leaves when I want my leaves to have the most energy, and that would be before flower. And when I want to harvest flowers, then I let my plants flower and I cut the flowers because they have the most energy then. And as for roots, typically it's suggested to wait till the end of the season when your plant has finished flowering, has seeded or gone to seed, then digging up roots. But there are some roots that I dig up early, and those are dandelion root. I dig up horseradish. I'll dig up docks, maybe some comfrey root. I'm not harvesting like a lot at this point in the early part of the season, but I may want, well, dandelions for sure, because they're all over the place, and I'm digging up plants in my garden bed because I don't want them to compete with the vegetables I've planted, and then I will cut and dry my dandelion roots. Usually there's just plenty of dandelions. Whenever digging up a root of a plant, you don't want to dig up the entire root, and it's usually difficult to do because those roots really go deep and spread far. But unless it's something that you really want to get rid of, you want to allow some of the root to stay there. So right now it is May, and I've already been cutting and drying plants for a good almost a month now, a couple weeks at least, 3 weeks at least. And so I have a number of places that I'm drying and ways that I'm drying, and I'm going to turn this camera around and show you some things in the process of drying. Okay, so right here I have mugwort. And mugwort, I believe, is Artemisia vulgaris. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll be corrected, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Part of the wormwood family. The Artemisia is the Latin name. So I have a lot of mugwort growing at my home. And this was just like this big fluffy pile when I first put it on these paper towels. Now, sometimes I dry this way. So I have this table space that I don't really use for anything else, and I thought I'd spread out the mugwort and let it air dry. And right now I'm just moving the leaves around because you want to turn your plants if you have them laying out like this so that both sides get air. And I can smell the fragrance as I am turning. So if I'm drying this way, I feel like this way, it depends. If you have like really good airflow, I had a little heater on in here because it was still cool at night. It's taking longer than I want it to dry. But I think I should put the heater on a little bit more. It depends on the temperature that you have where you're drying. Now, other ways of drying. This is my paper bag method. And so I get big paper bags at the grocery store, and I only have little ones. That's why I put the mugwort out here on the paper towels. But here is some dandelion root that I had cut, and this is pretty much dry now. It cracks, if you could hear that. And so the paper bag method is really easy. You cut your roots, or you put flowers, and you want to shake the bag every couple of days. Now, this mugwort is not cracking. It's not crinkly. It's not crackling. It's still like you can feel the coolness, and you can feel the moisture, and it bends. There are some parts that are dry, but you want to have everything like cracked. This is an interesting phenomenon. I was drying my dandelion flowers. Now, when I picked my flowers early in the season, the early ones, and I dried them, this didn't happen. But then we kept picking dandelion flowers, and the closer, or I guess the longer that they had been open, some of them, when they dry, they turn into the puffball state. Now, I never really saved the puffballs. Like, I usually pick out the yellow ones and dry them. And then the puffballs, I will probably just put out into compost so that they reseed. But this was my like third or fourth picking of dandelion flowers, and the first couple pickings, I didn't get these puffballs like this. Just wanted to show you a jar where these were the earlier dandelion flowers that I had picked and dried. And there you can see that there is some of that white seeding, but they remained more of a flower initially early in the season when I picked. And so what I do with the dandelion flowers is I really just like to make them into a tea. And I made a recent video on making dandelion flower tea with raisins and clove and ginger, and it's really, really good. So you might want to check that out. And right here I just have some chickweed, and sometimes I just like write a little note and put it on the paper towel. Chickweed is very fragile, and I don't want to say it's hard to dry, but it is kind of like it loses a lot of moisture. It's a succulent in a sense. It shrinks a lot, but I like to make a chickweed salve, and so I was weeding in a pot, and I just grabbed the handful and quickly dried it on my paper towel. I think you can even see the little seeds here. But I plan on drying more chickweed for salve purposes, and I just wanted to show you. I just kind of laid it out here on the paper towel. It would have also done well in a paper bag. The paper bag is good too for saving seeds or for catching the seeds so you don't lose them. So I hope I made you interested in drying and kind of made it seem easy. It is really actually easy. I think we feel like it's complicated. A couple notes or a couple points to remember. One, you do not want a damp or moist area where you're drying. 2, do not dry in the direct sun. 3, your plants should retain the color of the plant when you have it dried. And this is a really, really wonderful way to get to know what your plant should look like when it's dried, so that when you go and buy dried herbs somewhere, you'll see something like, say you go to buy chickweed and it's not green, and you're like, no, wait a second, I dried chickweed before and it was still green, and you'll know that the chickweed that isn't green is not good. So that was 3 things. What is the 4th thing? I'm not sure if there is a 4th thing, because drying is rather simple. When your plant is fully dry and it makes that crackling sound, then you want to put it in a jar with a good lid, label, date, put where you got the plant, and then put it away in your cabinet. And there you go. Simple. Light, fluffy things go faster. Denser, thicker, fibrous plants take longer. Sometimes people ask me that, maybe 2 weeks for a more dense root or something that has more moisture. Whereas chickweed, a couple days, 4 or 5, 4 days, it'll be dry. And again, it depends on the conditions of where you are drying. So have fun with drying your herbs and saving your herbs and your flowers and your plants, and leave some comments down below. Thanks.